Okay, we're ready.
I guess, should call.
Should we get the fill up and we get it here?
I think we'll probably, in a minute, right? You're
Yeah.
in the meeting?
Yeah, I'll open it and then we can go on in.
No.
Do you want to call the meeting to order, Tim, or would you like me to?
No, go ahead.
Meeting's called to order. Let me take roll. Mark Geller.
Present.
Yeah.
Raj Amar.
Yeah.
Tim Riley. Okay. All right, we have an action item is Dominican College inducement resolution, if you want to have someone to come in and join us. And Ron, I'll defer to you guys to say what's going on.
That direction, it's.
And our meetings are live streamed, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Well, Tony.
We'll give you firepower this way.
We have more lawyers, don't they, you know? Yes. Beautiful.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna, the first item of business is a Dominican College inducement and authorizing resolution. Morning, Tony, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
We've known, how many, just as an aside, how many bonds have we done with Dominican?
Well, let me just summarize.
So that's a good tee up there.
The lay of the land now. Right now, there are 2 bond issues outstanding with the IDA and 1 bond issue outstanding with REAC. And there have been a number of financings and refinancings incorporated into those bonds. And the plan now is to consolidate all of the debt into a single debt issue by REAC, since IDA can't issue bonds for not-for-profits anymore. So we'll be refunding all of the bonds, terminating the IDA transactions, and consolidating everything into a new transaction under REAC in the range of about $32 million. And I'll let the college, excuse me, now they're a university.
I say it all the time, I'm not used to it yet either.
Explain why all of this is happening.
So, Ron's summary is correct. The 2004, 2014 bond issues have a mandatory put at the end of the first 10 years, which is coming up in December. So that's really what's facilitating this whole process.
So there's no new money involved, it's just more or less
There's,
consolidating what money you have, your outstanding money you have?
that is correct. There is a small amount of new money here, anticipating about $2 million for development and expansion of the Cruise Max Center.
Okay.
But that's pretty much all we're considering in terms of new money.
And there's a maturity
It's being
extension
extended
as well
yeah.
to
Yeah.
reduce the annual debt service.
Just spread it out.
So, yes, there's, not to rush things, but if there's
No, is there
any
any other
questions or?
questions?
No, I was gonna ask what you asked.
What?
I was gonna ask the same question you did.
Oh,
So
right.
I'm okay.
Okay. So I guess with that said,
Do we have a motion?
do I have a second? Second. Okay, I'll call the roll. Mark Geller, Peg Zugby,
Yes.
Raj Amar,
Yes.
Tim Riley.
Yes.
Okay. You're induced and authorized.
Thank you all.
Yeah, so,
Sorry.
thank you for coming out on a rainy, nice to say
Sorry,
that. on a rainy
I made you
Thursday.
come down here for such a short.
Not a problem. It's what I do. I'm sure I'll be talking to you
It's
soon.
better that you're here than not.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, thanks all.
All right.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
See you.
Okay. What's that? The treasurer's report. No, actually, I want to discuss one thing. We don't have to go into a lot of detail about it, but we've been doing things with the IDA as far as expenditures and stuff, or not expenditures, but money that's just sitting there and deciding to invest it in the community in different ways. We don't have to answer this, but I want the board to think about, because I'm only triggered by this pending deal, but we do have funds sitting in accounts that react with very little, if no expenditures associated with it, monthly bookkeeping, things like that. Does the board, and I guess I'll direct this to the councils as well as to the board, do we want to explore doing something with those funds?
Well, how much money is it? It's under $100,000, correct?
With this new transaction, I think it'll be a little over $100,000, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind putting some of it in the CD, but the reality is, we've already gone through the process of what can we do with our money. You won't let me go to Atlantic City, so that's out.
And again, live feed.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
Joke.
Joke. I want to get her.
The point is,
Oh, it gives me hard time.
over the years, as some of the board knows, we looked into, investing this,
Right.
and we always end up back at CDs. So my point is, for $100,000, if we want to take 50 grand, because we don't spend a lot of money and put it in a CD, fine. We're not gonna get that big in a return, but why not?
Is it a money market account? If you put in a money market account, you're automatically earning interest on it.
I mean, we are earning interest. I mean, we're earning hardly anything on it. Or do we want to do anything, my question,
Oh, yeah,
maybe I was
there's
clear, or do we
part
want to take some of those funds and put it back into the community on a smaller scale?
Sure.
Yeah, and are there any different parameters with the money that we can spend for REAC as opposed to IDA, being that it's a different,
My opinion
It's a
is that,
not-for-profit.
don't
yeah,
share,
I'd like to see if there's,
my opinion would be don't share the money from both the sides. You're doing it from one side, I think that's fair enough.
Okay.
And it's a small amount of money, right? You
Okay.
can't really do much to help, so you might as well just,
Okay.
right?
that's fair.
If you had $1 million sitting in there, that would be a different conversation. I have 100,000 sitting there. Just leave it.
Okay.
And if you have some smaller projects, bring them to the idea.
Right.
That's
It's
Okay.
simple as that.
That works for
I
me.
just wanted to ask the question, okay.
Yeah.
So, and just so I know.
So are we
the only
leaving it that
signature
you're
on
gonna
this
look at
is
a
for the
CD?
secretary.
Well, hold on. How much do we spend a year? Do we know?
Oh.
what we have?
Almost nothing for REAC.
Oh,
I would say.
Couple $1,000
Yeah.
if that.
So why don't we take 50 grand,
Take
plus
75.
75, and put it in a 6-month, or
Yeah.
like,
I think our biggest
So it's not-
expenditures
So we
are,
look like we did something.
right, our
Yeah.
biggest expenditures, oddly enough, is our bookkeeper and our annual audit.
Right.
Yeah.
Between that and Julie, our
Because
compliance.
it's gotta be more than what it's sitting there, if we put it in a CD.
Oh,
Yeah,
So I think we should do that.
Yeah, just put 75, I agree with you. Just put
Yes,
75,000
but
in.
then there's gonna be a TEFR hearing afterwards.
Okay.
Which we'll get Heidi the notice on, and then they, as county executive, have to sign.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But no, on this one, only the secretary, yeah.
okay. Okay, so, financial report, since we're talking about it, there are two, invoices we paid for the Barard for our monthly bookkeeping.
Yeah, that's-
Okay,
Yeah.
totaling $340 in 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right. Anybody wants to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, and with that said, I'll read back the minutes. I think that's only called to order at 11:03. Board reviewed and discussed the Dominican College inducement authorizing resolution. Tony Cipolla, CFO of Dominican University, gave an overview of their intent to, with the bonds, primarily with refinancing with a small degree, I'll be more specific, of some new money for some additional, expansion work at the Pressmax Center. Motion by Peg Zugaby, seconded by Mark Geller, all in favor. Board discussed REAC funds, and if there was anything we wanted to do with it other than what we currently are doing. We talked about putting it into a CD. They reviewed the treasurer's report, and that's it. I guess with motion to adjourn.
Yeah, my motion.
Okay. All right, that's that. You should get to sign. I want to sign these couple things.
Let's see.
Oops. We ordered new pens. It's funny how these pens disappear. Well, we got a few.
They're keepers, they're keepers.
You know what a pen is.
Make sure you collect all those pens after
Yeah,
the meeting.
we're watching everyone.
You're gonna have to get those strings like the bank has.
I'm actually the problem. I go and Steve's desk, for meeting, and I always walk out with pens. And then he's like, I have no pens. And I'm like, huh, how that happen? Yeah,
I have.
Yeah, they're all at my desk.
News book.
Yeah.
I'm always- I love their pens. I'm always nobody's taking them, because that they write nicer.
Yeah. I like it.
It's intentional, like taking their pen.
Yeah.
Okay, so guess we'll call the IDA meeting to order at 11:14. All right, roll call, Mark Geller, Peg Zugby,
Here.
Raj Amar,
Here.
Tim Riley. Okay, the first order of business is involving a new project. It's an inducement resolution for Connectivity Systems LLC, and we have a representative. And as an aside, this, just so you know, this project is in an economically depressed area by designated relevance to that.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, how are you? How's everybody? Again, I did get a chance to say hi. I'm Steve Porth. I'm the executive director, and our board and our councils. And if you guys want to start, introduce yourselves. And before we start, I'll give a little intro. Again, this is a new project for the IDA that they're looking for the standard mix of straight lease, transaction, sales tax, mortgage tax. I think you're going to be seeking a pilot as well. And again, this is, within an economically depressed area of the county, which opens up parameters for more eligibility. And I guess with that said, maybe I'd ask you guys to introduce yourselves and give me like a 5-minute informal overview of the project. Okay, thank you.
I'll just introduce you and then you can roll with it because you're more familiar with the project. Good morning, Honorable Chairman, distinguished members of the board, President. My name is Michael Toohey with the law firm Abrams Spencerman LLP in White Plains. We represent Connectivity Systems LLC with regards to this IDA application. Here with me is Mr. Robert Minch, counsel for an signatory of the applicant for Connectivity Systems application to the IDA.
Good morning, Chairman and Board. Thank you very much for taking the time. So Hearthstone Village is a project that was first approved in 2014. With the town of Rampo, it's a mixed-use project. It's the first mixed-use project in Rampo, in the town of Rampo. It was approved in the end of 2014, and then due to a long series of unfortunate events, it went through a lot of litigation till we actually got the project off the ground.
I am sorry, but that's not a valid extension.
I was trying to not interrupt you. To get would you like me to come?
You could try, you might answer that.
You want to just wait so she can get, or you're okay to?
Yeah, I know you wanted everyone on.
Hello.
Good morning, it's the Rockland IDA.
Mr. Minch, is that you?
Yes.
Good morning. I'm here with Robert. We just introduced ourselves to the IDA, and Robert was about to discuss the project from its inception in 2014 to present.
Yes, but Robert will handle it. Okay, unfortunately, I'm double booked. Okay, if you guys have a question, call me and I'll stop the other one. Okay?
Understood.
Thank you. Apologize.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
That's a little commercial. You might have to call, maybe I'll call Sheila.
Okay, so it consists of 3 buildings. 2 of the buildings are up currently. We're renting out the spaces. That includes 56 residential units. And I don't have it on me, but it's in the packet, how much commercial square footage there are in the first 2 buildings. And now we're going for a office building. This is going to be the 3rd building. We're asking for a 5-story office building. It's the necessity in Rockland, we believe, especially after post-corona, everybody is trying to work remotely or not travel to the city anymore. There is, on the other side of Jersey in Montville, I think there's a lot of people are going there. There's cheaper, there's a lot of office space there and it's cheaper, but we're trying to bring everybody back, be in the center of Rockland and be in the New York area. And that's what we're hoping for. Due to this prolonged, I mean, we're not a big family company. We went into this, my dad is really a computer guy originally. That's, you software and stuff, and this is his life's working. He put it into this project. He was hoping to, it seemed like a slam dunk project. He first bought the property in 2000. And 2014, we got this approval. And then again, like I said, there was a series of litigations. You'd have to go in for amendments every time. I guess the two main litigations, one was Judge Eisenpress, one was with Judge Zugby, where basically the town board would, when we came in for an amendment, they would put in conditions when, by law, they only have to focus on the amendment. They can't reopen the whole project, from scratch, which is what they did, and put in new conditions. So Judge Eisenpress did that. And then they made it, it was like a circle where they'd be like, oh, this is a problem, you have to fix it. We try to fix it, come in again to the planning board, then they would either, add on conditions to it, or in one case, they straight out denied the application. But in that case, that was Judge Zugby, where he actually forced it through and said that it was wrong what the town was doing. Ultimately, that went to in federal court. We sued the town for damages for the 10 years carrying costs, and ultimately we settled with them. So now the first two buildings are up and running. We're renting out, about halfway rented on both the residential and the commercial. And now we'd like to go in. We had a CDRC meeting this past week regarding the 5-story office building, and it's going to go to the planning board, and hopefully it will get passed. That's what we're looking to help with that construction.
If I can just object for a minute, I just want to make sure the board clarifies, and I appreciate you giving us a big picture. While you mentioned that there's two buildings up, this application is involving that third building.
Yes.
That is, think of it for our purposes as a standalone project. They're building a complex of buildings, but that third building is the project, and that would satisfy what we call it the but-for element, that without these incentives, this project would not go forward for that third building. We're not talking about incentives for existing facilities.
I looked at the map in the application. I know it's by Remsen Avenue and on 59. Whereabouts? Tell me where it is.
Oh, it's right there. It's on the corner of Remsen and Augusta.
What's there now? Is it? I mean, I don't know of any lot.
If you drive there, you'll see it. I mean, the first two buildings are up, and
so it's
six
on the southern side of the thruway. You know where the Toyota dealership is?
Yes. So it's
take me from there.
Take you from there. So if you were going away from Airmont,
right,
the other way towards 306.
Right.
Okay, so then you would pass Remsen. Remsen would be on your left.
Yep.
And then you'd continue, and then there's a Wells Fargo bank.
Yep.
It's right there, right next to Wells Fargo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. What's the road there? Christian Harold Road or something? Is another road? Never mind.
It's Augusta. It's the next.
I know the site is in between 59 and Grove Street, correct?
Yeah.
Well, it's 59 and Grove Street and Remsen and Augusta.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Two border roads.
Okay.
And just to clarify, it's presently approved at 3 stories. All the approvals have been received. They're reapplying to add 2 additional stories.
Right. And again, with all due respect, that really doesn't impact us.
Mm-hmm.
That's more your deal with the town of Ramapo. We're here strictly to look at it as far as, a development in Rockland County, et cetera, et cetera. What the final outcome pertaining to the planning board really has, in my opinion, has no impact on our application.
Right, in a good way for you. That's a good thing for you. Like, at the end of the day, we're looking at this as what you're proposing. Eventually, you're going to be able to build what you get approvals for, but our incentives will wrap around that once, we can't supersede any approvals.
No, I just wanted to clarify, because I know you mentioned the 5-story approval process.
Like I said, so the fact that, we don't care about the approval is a good thing for you. Okay, it sounds like a weird way to say it, but that's the point.
Yeah. Now, what are you gonna do with the building?
It's gonna be an office building.
Is it one client, or is it gonna be retail client?
We don't know. We don't have, when we started the first part of phase 1, we were, people were calling, and we started, getting client, tenants and whatever, but it kind of, you see, development is, I mean, it's the Wild West. So, you know, you can't really, until you have the approval, until,
Yeah.
you know, you're building, like, you can't really start talking to tenants because people want to move, you know?
I was gonna say, you don't have a closing date.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
The application did say mixed use as well. so-
okay, I don't know, yeah, so you're just gonna, you're more or less just gonna be the landlord.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You think you're gonna get the approval for the other floor? I know you're hoping to get it, but, I mean, you put up 2 buildings, so they.
Part of the settlement in the federal court case talked about us getting 5 floors and that the town would be pro that and that they would want it. So at the end of the day, the town could say what they want. The boards are independent and they have to make the decisions. But it is, we're hoping that it is gonna work because that was part of our settlement stipulation, that the town would be pro.
I just gotta ask a question, it doesn't pertain to our application. Did you do a traffic survey yet?
We did. We have a traffic study for the 3-story building, which is now, and I don't want to be held by the numbers because I don't have it.
No,
But I think we were
yeah.
way below the amount of parking that we needed, according to that study. And we're updating it now for the 5-story building, and we're confident, just doing the ratios, that it would be comfortable. Another idea or, concept that we were discussing with the town and the planners and, to get this passed is also, they've given in other office buildings an 18%, off the bat, 18% variance to common area space. So if you have a building and there's a gym or there's a, coffee shop or other common area spaces, that doesn't count for the square footage when calculating parking. So that's part of our idea.
Yeah.
To go in with that 18%, so that would even bring it down lower. But I believe that even without that, the parking study should be sufficient.
But can't you use, if the other 2 buildings are yours, you should be able to use parking from there too, right?
Yeah, well, it's one big site, so it's shared parking for all the buildings. It's just-
This is in Muncie.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know Muncie was considered a depressed area.
Yeah.
Not that,
Oh, that whole, like, that-
Spring Valley,
that
yes,
greater area,
Muncie.
yeah.
Okay.
It's more of a, just as a rounding aside, there's certain areas in the county that are, designated as economically depressed areas that falls within that bounds. And what that means relevant to you is it allows the IDA to be, not to get into the weeds on it, gives us a little more flexibility in the nature of various projects that we can do.
Okay.
Like retail, for example. If you were building the same facility in, I don't know the rules.
Stony Point.
You were building it in Stony Point, and this is where I got to filter, not saying my thinking, but as far as the planning board up there. But anyway, there would be some bumps in the road as far as like is retail, is it eligible, things like that.
Sure.
You're in an area where that's not relevant. Again, in a good way. Okay.
Well, it doesn't count.
I like learning the ins and outs too.
Right.
I like seeing, behind the board wall.
Any more questions?
I'm gonna have to recuse myself
Yeah.
What is that?
because my husband.
Yeah.
was
This is
just-
Peggy. You know,
Sugabee.
do you know Judge Sugabee? He was in the other room. I'm like, Sugabee, beat his better half.
And then your kid maybe a real better. So I don't wanna mess up your application by putting my name on it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mark Geller. Rajamar,
Yes.
Tim Riley.
Yes.
Okay, so you are induced. Okay.
Thanks, sir.
And we have one
Didn't use my
recusal.
vote anyways.
Yeah.
What that means, think of that almost like it's an initial approval. You could go forward with the idea that you're gonna get these incentives. We have to have a public hearing. We'll notify you when. And I know you're still going through some process, but we'll get our process out of the way relatively quickly. The public hearing will be held. You're not required to attend it. It's a one-way communication. Anybody in the public that wants to provide the IDA with any comment regarding your project, only within the context of the incentives we've introduced you for. You're invited to attend. We'll let you know when it is. You're invited to attend if you care to, but you're not obligated to. Not to discourage you from coming, but sometimes even being there may spur a conversation that you don't really need to legally even have. But you certainly can come if you'd like. And then we'll have, followed by that, we'll have an authorizing resolution, which is the final approvals. And we'll communicate, we'll make sure we communicate with you on the timing. I know you have some things you have to get through, but we'll time that so that we're kind of in position to close with you when you're ready to close, presuming everything goes forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
I really appreciate all of your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So much
for disposing of.
Will do.
We're just working together.
He's the boss.
Joanna,
Thank you very much.
Josephine with you too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I work with Bob, Joanna, and Josephine.
Oh, did you really?
Don't want to know.
We'll do so.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay. Okay.
You work for a lot of firms.
Not really.
Some people say, yeah, tell people to job.
You may not have to go far to have your
Who's behind you going like this?
Okay.
We all work at the same shop.
You didn't pick up on him saying Judge Lucy?
Oh,
I caught it,
I
and then I left.
And I was like,
Soon as he said it, yeah.
All right, the next item of business is an amending resolution involving CoreWeave. Council kind of just comment on this?
Yeah, this is an amending CoreWeave, if you recall, is the artificial intelligence tenant, yes,
Yeah.
at the 2000 Corporate Park Drive. They hired a firm, Barclay Damon, a local firm. This is a national organization, CoreWeave. They wanted somebody local, and the council looked at the application and noted that perhaps they should have submitted some additional information, because in addition to CoreWeave Inc. being the tenant, they also have another affiliate called CoreWeave Acquisition Compute Inc. LLC, which is also going to be acquiring part of the $600 million worth of computer equipment. And it was his belief, meaning the other attorneys, that should have been disclosed in the application. So of course we said, well, let's go ahead and bring everything up to speed and get the application complete. On November 1st, they sent a letter to the IDA setting forth not only the name of the additional party who will be occupying the space and leasing the equipment, but also they tightened up, if you will, the description of the project. Not that they're buying anything more, but they may need to do some additional small work, renovation of some of the area where they're going to be occupying. And again, the other attorney thought his client would be best served if they included that in their application. So what this actually does is just amends the resolution that was already adopted by this agency back on September 19th, bringing in that new information. A public hearing was held
Yes, no public
earlier
comment.
this week so we went ahead and did another public hearing notice. Heidi did that on Tuesday. I got your report, no comments on
No
that.
comments.
So this essentially puts to bed the amended project, if you will, based on the newer information that came to the IDA back in the middle of October. So it's same project essentially, but with an additional party and a little bit more work to it.
And they're not asking for any additional financial assistance. It's the same that was already approved.
Yeah. What it does is this goes ahead and amends and replaces the September 19th authorizing resolution that the board adopted. And it's got everything else in it. It also replaces that resolution. So yeah, this should be considered today for your, should be before you for consideration.
But it's just language.
Just language, and
adding
there is,
the other person.
yeah, the substantive part of they're adding an additional party to the transaction. And, that party is going to be receiving benefits. So we thought, once we learned of that,
Cleaner.
let's get it in the resolution so that there's no question as to who the actual project applicants are, plural now.
Any discussion?
Motion?
Need a motion. Okay, Mark Geller, Peg Zugby.
Yes.
Roger Martin, yes. Tim Riley, yes. Okay. CoreWeave is amended. Low-key Brill labor reports, you see these every month, and I won't go through them in a lot of detail, but I would like to, we have two closeout reports that I was going to discuss, and I hit the wrong thing on my thing and I lost it. Heidi, do you want to, I mean, if you,
Yes.
perhaps, maybe if you want, just walk them quickly through, I'm sorry to throw this at you unexpected. Can you just, it's significant because of the closeout reports, which is new
Right.
for us.
Yes.
And I wanted,
So we've now had 3 projects finished through our labor compliance process. So the first was Aptar. Now this month we have Manhattan Beer and Rockland Gardens.
Right.
Have both closed out. They both were over the 80%. They complied every month. They paid everything. The process went very nicely. And we have those closeout reports on your
Right.
iPads.
I was gonna go through them, and again, I hit the wrong button, knocked it off my own screen, so.
But the closeout report, it lists month by month and what their compliance was and any, not variances,
Exceptions.
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 What's that thing that you sign? Waivers.
Waivers.
Any waivers that they had and those kind of things. But those 2 projects went very well. And the labor reports, you have September and October on your iPads. IV2 and 1547 are below, but they are both in the application process for waivers, so those numbers will self-correct once that goes through.
Before we move on from labor, I think there may be an item that we have to talk about executive session with one of our projects.
Just, if I may, 1 second. 1547, it says 453 workers, 440 were compliant with no exceptions. So there was 13 non-compliant. They're at 97%. So why would they need a waiver? Is somebody else coming in?
What page are you looking at? Are you looking at the overall month or the day they came?
I'm looking at that page.
And what month? Because I have.
So, all right, so like, they didn't need a waiver because they were still well over the monthly. They have a perfect right, they could hire 13 people from Idaho without.
No, the only reason why I'm bringing it up, this is November 18th.
Right.
Is because Heidi said they need a waiver. They're a little below, and I don't see where they're below, that's all.
So September, they may have been below, like we're in the waiver process.
I think they did mention them in September, they were below.
Oh,
yeah.
We talked about it, saying that,
Yeah,
they're usually on target,
Yeah.
so they just picked it up.
Oh, and,
yeah.
That could have been a timing issue.
And that's exactly what you said last time too.
and that's
Yeah,
fine. No,
like
no, no, no.
September, they were at 60, but that was a natural number because things hadn't come through
And we
yet.
talked about that same exact thing, that
Okay.
it could be a timing issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
you walk in the door the 1 week that nobody else is there and then 5
Yeah.
guys.
That's what I'm saying, they got 450 guys there,
Yeah,
and only 13 are from outside the Hudson Valley.
Right.
Like, okay.
yeah, and that number is probably a more true picture,
Yeah.
but some of the other reports don't reflect that, but there's a reason why. Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi.
Yes, you're welcome.
So do they have to maintain it on a monthly basis, or do they have to maintain it
Yes,
over a period of time?
Good question, and just to originally, our original policy had it so overall, during the course of the project, you had to be at 80%. But we quickly realized as we were learning, that people can manipulate that. You could be at 0%, and then at the end, hire a bunch of locals, even though, they can play with that. So now we require on a monthly basis to be there or to answer why not. It keeps them more on track so they can't manipulate our policy. That's it.
I think the point was, Mark, is that for us to have hindsight after the project is done and then go back and review, it's
No
nothing we can do.
recourse.
We have no recourse. So we just keep a good eye on them now to make sure that they're diligent, and 99% of the applicants
Yeah.
are doing the right thing.
So if they call below for a month, they get a phone call.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So why would you need a waiver? Because your average is 97%.
Right, and
Typically,
typically,
that month or something else. They're
Yeah.
that particular project, I'm very near and dear with. I know some of the people there for a long time. My point being, they are extremely sensitive to our labor policy.
Yes.
Because not only now, and they're trying to do the right thing, but they have another building in the future. So they want to make sure they don't mess up. So they will do everything.
Yeah, and Loki Brill's very good at vetting those waivers and making sure that they checked all the boxes and,
I got 3 panic calls. We got a guy coming here, oh my God, what's going on? I said, relax. We
you wanna
went
go
into
into executive session?
I want to talk about
Sorry, yeah.
a project that we've had issues with it. I don't want to talk like.
Yeah, you want to go with,
We
So
go.
for confidential reasons?
Or for legal
what?
matters.
For legal matters? Okay.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'm a-
Okay. And do I have a second?
Tim.
Okay, guys, Tim. All in favor? Okay. I know.
I
I
saw
We're out
the
of
road
executive
start on his
session.
car. You know?
Actually, should have like an electric buzzer. Okay, no old business treasurer's report. If you'd like to take a look at it, it's pretty much our standard, expenditures on a monthly basis. If there's any comment,
No. I'll make a motion on the treasurer's report.
okay. Do I have a second? Okay. Riley. Bridget, just for 1 second. Go ahead, Bridget. It's with both sadness and best wishes that we're going to be saying goodbye to Bridget. She has found an opportunity that, is a good job opportunity for her that kind of, allows her to do some things that unfortunately we're not in a position to provide at this time. But I just wanted to tell, say before the board in public session that she's been terrific. She will be sorely missed.
Yes.
I'll miss you guys.
Thank you.
Wish you the best.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
I guess big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Which is, it
Yep.
doesn't sound good when you're saying that to.
I'm not even ready. I'm not
It
even
doesn't
ready
sound
to
as
go
complimentary
there.
as that.
Little shoes.
But little shoes to fill. But anyway, we really do wish you all the best. And like I said, don't be a stranger and do come to our party on
Yeah.
the 12th.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck to you.
Mark, if you got to run, because you're,
Yeah.
we could close out the meeting,
Is
we
that
still have a
taking
quorum.
support and like?
No, we still
No,
have,
no,
we
we
have a
still have
quorum.
Okay, all right.
This way we can talk about it.
Just don't put me on.
We're appointed, this is,
Yeah.
we're appointed to
And we're not going to executive session either. It's gonna be public.
Thanks, everybody. I'll see you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, I didn't want to bother you, just wanted you to come in while we did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can stay.
Yeah, stick around.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read the minutes, and nothing else, I'll read the minutes, okay, call to order. Board discussed the inducement resolution for connectivity systems, multi-use facility proposed for the village of Muncie, board with a variety of questions. Following discussion, a motion was made and seconded, all in favor, the motion passed. The amending resolution, Dan Birmingham, Council Dan Birmingham discussed amending resolution, which involves some corrections to the application, involves some other legal entities that should be part of that application. Following discussion, motion was made, all in favor. The board reviewed the low-keeper labor reports, noting there's some discussion regarding completed projects and just using that as a review of how that was doing. The whole business, the board went into executive session, discussed legal matters, came out of it, reviewed the treasurer's report. Treasurer's report approved by Tim Riley, seconded by Raj Amar, and that's it.
Motion to
I'll make a
adjourn.
motion, we accept the minutes. Motion to close?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving.
You got something.